I know. What is Delta 8? I still don't know what it is, but I do feel like if dope's right here, it must be right up under dope. And they may be sprinkled with LSD, maybe. She said, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take one a night, and you got to be consistent over time with it. And I was like, okay. It scared me to death. And I got it in the car, and I thought, I better not drive fast. And I got it home, and Chuck Morgan was there. And I didn't tell him what I had done. And I went, hey. I got it and took it back and put it in my closet. And I waited until nightfall. And I was scared to death. I took a nibble off of one, just a nibble. I didn't even take a whole one, just a nibble. And I don't know if this was in my head, but 20 minutes later, my heart was beating out of my body. So I called my travel agent and I said, you better get another room. Because their daddy misses me. I don't know what it is about Chuck Morgan in a hotel room. But he gets in a hotel room, gets a glazed look over his eyes. And I feel like I'm doing this. And the reason why I had to get another hotel room is because this baby and I have been touring together. She's with me all the time. I've done 150 dates with her, and their daddy does not want me to spend money, and so we've had to share a room. So we've been butt to butt in a king-size bed everywhere we go. And all of my married life, Chuck Morgan has told me not to spend money and that we were going to lose everything. He's tried to scare me. And he's been in my ear. I can hear him saying, you better eat that free continental breakfast. Don't you dare go to Panera. But okay, so Chuck Morgan buys a really cheap airline ticket. He had to get up in the middle of the night and connect all over the United States of America. He finally gets there, and he is worn to a frazzle. And Chuck Morgan doesn't nap, but he napped on and off that day and watched Tennessee play basketball in the hotel room. And then I went to a club and worked. And let me tell y'all, she went through a phase where she was worried that who was going to get to go to heaven. She wants everybody to go to heaven. And I remember her asking me about people, and everybody would be yelling in the back seat and hungry and all that, and her little voice would say, Mommy, is Johnny Cash going to heaven? I remember that day, and I remember what I said. I said, yeah. Yes, Johnny Cash is going to heaven. He and June have been spreading the gospel with Billy Graham all over the United States. Yes, he'll be in heaven. Okay, and I got to thinking about this when all this was in my mind. I've got a daughter-in-law we are in love with her, and she is so smart and such a good mama, and I watch her talk to my grandbabies, and she makes sense. And it's just made me look back. And I think I said some crazy mess. But I was tired. So she was worried about who was going to heaven, and she asked me about J-Lo. And this was years ago, and I'm a huge J-Lo fan. And she said, Mommy, is J-Lo going to heaven? Just let me tell y'all, I was in a... And then J-Lo married that little bug-eyed Mark Anthony. Big head, little legs. Yeah. Yeah. He's the size of my cough drop. Look at that. Talented, very talented. And then she was a big old A-Rod, and I forget about big old A-Rod. And then she got back with Ben Affleck, and they married, and I thought, ooh, this doesn't look good. Because every video or picture you'd see of them, they'd be coming out of somewhere, and he'd be going. And you know that he worshiped her because she glows. Have y'all noticed that? She glows. I think she's so beautiful. I read in People magazine that she eats a lot of salmon. Okay. She does. We all need to be eating a lot of salmon. Okay, so here's another story about my middle child being so sensitive. My children went to a small Christian school in Knoxville, and we loved it. It was like a family to us. And the elementary school was tiny, and the girl that worked front desk, I thought, he's in a drug cartel. He has another family in Idaho. I've always thought he had another family in Idaho because all of our married life he has said, I told you that, and he hasn't. He thinks he's told me stuff, and he has not. And I've said, I've never heard that before in my life. Finally, one day I go, are you telling the woman in Idaho all this? I said, are you going to let her go to Panera, Chuck? Okay, let me tell y'all that. Chuck overnight. It's like somebody sent me to Turks and Caicos. They took me to the hospital, Chuck, and had our 2-year-old Charlie, and they dropped me off early that morning and then disappeared. And didn't come back until late that night. And I said, where have you been? And he went, nowhere. I said, what are you doing wearing a sweatsuit and you're sweating? He said, okay, Leanne, I've been playing basketball at the rec center. I said, full court? He went, yeah, why? I go, who was watching our baby while you were playing full court basketball? And I looked down and my baby's got on a diaper swollen down to his ankles. And I said, what has he eaten? And he said, eaten? I said, Chuck, listen to me. I go, they're going to discharge me tomorrow at noon, and they need you to bring me an outfit. Let me tell y'all what he brought me to the hospital. He brought me a pair of panties that were a triangle with strings on it. My belly button was that big. My stomach was out to here. I had to somehow try to... Let me tell y'all about my precious grandbabies. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm in love with them, and I hope I have 10 more, but I've got 2 boys, and they are 2 and 4. And my oldest one calls me Grandmama. And when he spends the night, he'll hold on to the railing and hold on to my hand, and he'll say, hold on, Grandmama, hold on. He thinks I'm feeble. It's very different being a mama than a grandmama. They're both wonderful, but they're very different. This is the difference, I think. When my babies want something, I'm going to give it to them. And my boy and his wife are wonderful parents, but they say crap to me. Things like no more riding toys. And I'm like, okay, but I cannot take back this Chevy with a gooseneck.